BEE and all of the other racial policies are absolutely gutting this beautiful country of South Africa. Now, I've been sharing about how BEE and the racial policies are scams of note because it does not benefit the greater good of the country moving forward. And we want the country to move forward. We want the country to be blessed. However, before I get into today's reading over here, I want to share with you just some hope before we get stuck into this, because this might anger you in some way, shape, or form, but allow God to use that anger to push you into your purpose and into your responsibility, and how you can actually make a difference and make an impact in this beautiful nation. Now, I'm of the belief that South Africa is the greatest country ever. And the reason why is not because of our politics, because that's an absolute mess, but because God has got a purpose for this beautiful nation of South Africa. And there's a reason why you are a citizen of South Africa and why you find yourself within the borders of this beautiful country. Not to hide, but to step into your God-given purpose, the plan that He has for you, the destiny that He has for you, where you can respond to what God is calling you to do, or what God is calling you into. So, according to the Daily Investor over here, but before I get into this, like the video, drop your comments down below, share this video far and wide, and let's inspire the youth of this beautiful country of South Africa to arise, to follow Jesus Christ, and to become the men and women that God has called them to be, so we can see this country be rebuilt. So, according to Daily Investor over here, the government's policy of black economic empowerment, BEE, has been tainted by corruption. Go figure. With its continued implementation increasingly challenged. This requires an overhaul of the policy to ensure it empowers a broader cross-section of South African society and not a handful of elites. I believe that it should be absolutely scrapped, because we should build a society based upon merit, not based upon looking at someone's skin color, all right? Because we are all made in the image and the likeness of God, and therefore we should look at the character of a person, the soul of a person, the actions of a person, and the results that they ultimately produce. And any person, irrespective of race, can grow in their character, can grow in their work, can grow in their skills, can grow in their mindset, all right, can grow in their tool sets. Anybody can ultimately do that. Anyone can begin to produce better results moving forward if people would be willing not to follow racial policies, but much rather God's way of doing life, where it's based upon merit and not the color of someone's skin. It goes on to say over here, this is the shocker over here. It has been estimated that around 1 trillion rands worth of BEE deals have only circulated among approximately 100 well-connected individuals. Hence, I've been telling you, it's a scam. The whole blooming thing is a scam. And I've been attacked. I've had people call me names: racist, white supremacist, apartheid apologist, nan, all of these different names. I'm telling you, it's a scam. It doesn't benefit the people. It doesn't move the country forward. I mean, we've literally seen what's happened at the Tembisa hospital with the allegedly 2 billion rand that's been stolen from that place. And how much more? How many of you remember the COVID fund of 500 odd billion rand? Whatever happened to that? Where is all of that essentially gone? There's so much. Now, maybe they did use that part properly. We don't know. There's been no accountability. There's been no transparency. And now we're seeing stuff like this also happen over here. It also goes on to say the call for a review of BEE policy in South Africa was made by Trade Minister Parks Tau and former President KG Motlanthe, right? I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. Please forgive my pronunciation there. During a BEE dialogue this week. Now, let me explain to you why I believe that BEE and any racial policies are wrong. Because number one, it shields corruption. As soon as you start talking against it because it is corrupt, then people say you anti-transformation. No, I'm pro-God. I'm anti this country being destroyed because people are corrupt and want to use these BEE and racial policies as a shield to protect their corruption. It's not right. It must be exposed. Number two, it also expands corruption moving forward, because we just read over here 1 trillion rands worth, allegedly 1 trillion rands worth of BEE deals were circulated or just basically given to 100 well-connected individuals. It's absolutely ridiculous, at the expense of almost half the country living on social grants. This is not sustainable. We cannot move forward like this as a country and as a nation. Also, what it expands is mediocrity. So any Tom, Dick and Harry who's got BEE compliance can now apply for tenders and, make millions of rands and never deliver on the service. It's ridiculous. It's costing the country big time. And then lastly, it enforces hatred. Because those now who can actually do the job, who can actually get it done, then don't get deals for whatever reason, because they aren't connected to some politician or because they don't qualify because of the color of their skin, for whatever reason. Now, listen, I believe that the best player should play in the game. I mean, from a soccer point of view, you want the best starting 11 to play because you want to win the league, you want to win the cup. I believe it's the same with regards to a country. The best players need to play. And here's the amazing thing. If you aren't good right now, here's what's amazing. You can get better. You can get better. So how do you and I respond as the youth of this beautiful country of South Africa? I'm so glad that you are thinking that, because I'd love to share it with all of you here today. How do you and I, especially the young men of this country, how do we respond to something like this? Well, number one, by realizing that the world owes you and I absolutely nothing. Therefore, stop listening to corrupt politicians telling you that the world owes you something, whilst they steal the entire country blind. The world owes you and I absolutely nothing. In fact, you and I owe the world. So the first thing we got to do, all right, is to realize that the world owes you and I absolutely nothing, and we need to deal with the reality, which is, where am I currently finding myself and what can I do about the situation? Very, very important. Here's what you can do. Stop drinking, stop smoking, stop having cheap sex, stop watching porn, stop engaging with groups that don't move your life forward in any way, shape or form. Stop associating with groups that are just gossiping and slandering and breaking other people down and blaming the system. The only reason the system is evil is because there are evil people in the system. Now, if righteous people rise up into the system can completely change, because you and I are supposed to be using our strength and the power that God gave us, not to crush the weak and the vulnerable, but to lift up the weak and the vulnerable, to fight for the innocent, moving forward from a godly perspective. All right? So we need to stop drinking, stop smoking, stop watching porn, stop having cheap sex, stop sleeping until 11 o'clock in the day. All right? And what we need to start doing is waking up early, producing, creating, doing research, initiating, all right? Knocking on doors. We need to get out there and start serving, using your time to serve. Find a place where you can start serving, whether it's at a hospital, whether it's at a non-profit somewhere, at a business. Go and offer your time and just get plugged in somewhere. Get plugged into a local Christ-centered Bible teaching church that's going to hold you accountable as well. Get plugged in somewhere like that, all right? Start listening to and watching things that are going to encourage you, but also correct your wrong behavior. And most importantly, young man, have a relationship with God. That is how we are going to transform this country from the inside out. It's by young people like yourself watching, having a relationship with the living God, where we yield to Christ and begin stepping into our God-given purpose and assignment and responsibility. We are not going to make it if we keep on marching and complaining. We are going to make it once we start producing, once we start being active, in the sense that we start doing what God has called us to do, loving our neighbor as we love ourselves, and we start holding people in power accountable for their actions, all right, by being a good citizen. Voting is coming up as well, all right? Okay, the election time is still going to be happening. When it's time to vote, make sure that you register, make sure that you get plugged in, all right, and be a part of the positive change that God wants to bring about within society. But before even you hold other people accountable, start by holding yourself accountable. Where are you? Where are you? Are you positively contributing, or are you taking? Are you a giver, or are you a taker? Are you a consumer, or are you a producer? Now, I know that all of us essentially are consumers, but part of the purpose of consuming is so that you and I can begin producing, moving forward. Champ, your life matters. The decisions that you make matter. Let the evil in the world spark a fire inside of you for you to step in to your purpose, so that you can approach it righteously and bring God's light, His love, His affection, His way of doing life into a world that so desperately needs Him. Listen, I want to say thank you for watching this video. We'll see you, Lord willingly, on the next one. Again, drop your comments down below, smash the like button over there, and share this video far and wide with young people, and let us see South Africa become the beautiful country that God has called her to be. As young people, we do not need to dive into the corruption. We can be a part of the solution moving forward and be a part of the change that God desires to bring. Your voice matters and your life matters.